Testing. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I see you in the chat. Wonderful. So today is another open discussion. Last week we had a pretty lively discussion. I'd like to continue this week with your questions, so please feel free to type them into the chat. I'll go ahead and have another good class this week. I hope everyone is well. Please remember that we have other classes, previous classes in our YouTube channel that you can go back and watch, covering a vast array of metaphysical and spiritual subjects. We also have a website, mysticknowledge.org. A lot of free ebooks and resources that you can use to continue your studies and practices.
There's no questions this week.
Lisa, what do you mean by reading binary codes? When you say binary, I'm thinking about computer code. I don't think that's what you're referring to. How does one go about knowing who they were in their past lives?
What was the question again?
How does one go about knowing who they were in their past lives?
By taking control over their mental faculties. It is said that no one can tell you who you were in your past lives, only yourself. And if someone knew who you were in your past lives, they would only tell you through initiation and under the strict law of karma. If someone really knew, karma will prohibit them from telling you, and they would if they was able to see your past lives, they would know the karmic implications for telling you when you're not ready for that information. So they wouldn't tell you. So a lot of the people that go around predicting past lives, you know, they don't know. They might be deluding themselves in most cases. Because if they did know, they wouldn't tell you. Because they will have enough clairvoyance to know the backlash of karma, of negative karma that's going to come to them for telling you that outside of a controlled environment. I hope that answers your question. Oh, another thing, and through it's Raja Yoga. Through the practice of Raja Yoga, you can learn about your past lives. You want it more specific. The path of Raja Yoga allows you to tap into your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind holds all the memories of your past lives. And as you cleanse the nadis and neural pathways, subtle and gross, then you will gain access to those past life experiences and knowledge and understanding that is karmically ready for you.
Okay. Can we touch on the topic of reading binary codes, the mathematical language pattern that reveals our path and possible future outcomes? It's numerology, but beyond that.
That'll take a whole class. Did I record the numerology class?
We recorded the discussion on it, but when we did the practice part, no.
Okay, well, I did record a numerology class to talk about it. If you could be specific about it, I studied numerology for, I don't know, probably 10 years, if not more. So I can touch on it, but you have to be more specific.
In Isis Unveiled, Madame Blavatsky states that humans as a consciousness went against a great spiritual chief, who then later sentenced humans to this current condition. Could you please share more?
Madame Blavatsky spoke in code in a lot of her stuff. I guess the best way to say this is that you win against yourself, and that's why I teach, which Madame Blavatsky teach too, the mystic constitution of man. And the mystic constitution of man tells you the different layers to yourself. You have your real self is spirit. Spirit creates a soul. A soul is not forever. A soul is only forever as a product of spirit. But as a product of soul, it was manifested from the soul as a body for the soul to travel. And yet, the soul stays stationary and the soul travels. The soul created this thing called an aura. The aura is the traveling aspect of the soul, and it travels through so-called time and space, because time doesn't really exist and space doesn't really exist either. But it travels through time and space in order for you to gather experience in gross matter or manifested matter. So when we started off, there was a series of lessons or laws that we had to govern ourselves by. When we go against those laws, those laws become pressure against us. We call it karma. So karma is a pressure towards conformity. So as we build up a resistance to the laws of God, of the nanny, the wisdom, the actions, the observance of the absolute. When we go against those things, then we build up a negative force against ourselves, and it places us in a lower mental state of consciousness, which we are in now. So that's what she meant. And for instance, in the later teachings of because the Madame Blavatsky had an esoteric and then an exoteric body membership, and later years after Madame Blavatsky passed, a lot of the esoteric stuff came out to the public. And one of the things were, although they didn't name it, but it was named by later adepts or masters that was a part of, that was within the same circle of mystics and yogis that came to the West or was born in the West. They even went a little further, because they talked about the coming of Senate Kamara. Senate Kamara came 18,600,041, I think 641,000 before Jesus. So, and the city of Shambhala was set up for him. Well, the incident that had occurred before then was spoke about by Dr. George King, who was a Western yogi master from England, and he revealed a lot of information. And also Alice Bailey, who was a student of two of Madame Blavatsky's close they revealed a lot to her. And then, of course, one of the members of the spiritual hierarchy, which some people call the Great White Brotherhood, also revealed a lot to Alice Bailey, and she wrote about it in her 25 books. And what had happened was the asteroid belt that now exists around the sun was actually a planet that was destroyed by a race of people who was experimenting with nuclear bombs or whatever. And those and I think that's what she was talking about specifically. Madame Blavatsky, which Anna Besant and Alice Beatty later talked about, and Dr. George King, and that's what brought man to the earth and had him in the lower astral realms, which is a lower state of consciousness, for hundreds of thousands of millions of years. In fact, the largest population on Earth after 18-some million years of man being here is still the lower hells. And it's because of their actions of destroying a celestial being, physical body, brought man here. So specifically, as when you look at her students and everybody came behind her, that's what they were actually talking about, I believe. hope I answered your question. Any other question?
Have you read Lives of Alcyone? 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 I'm not sure what that word is.
Lies of what?
Lives of Alcyone? I don't know what that.
I know I haven't read that. I seen that book though, but I haven't read it. No.
When reciting mantra mentally and counting on the fingers, is it advisable to regulate this with the breath? For example, for every 16 count in breath, I will equal a 16 out breath. I have gotten into this pattern and it feels quite natural, but I would be interested in your thoughts.
Yes, you do. That is a practice that you do. But no one can tell you what the count is. The count should be on your ability to breathe and to breathe in and to exhale. You should practice pranayama, which is the breathing exercises. You should practice that for a while before adding a lot of other things to it. In other words, you should regulate your breath. When you breathe in, you should be able to breathe a deep breath where you make sure that the lungs are fully filled up to its capacity. And there's a technique in the science of yoga breath that will show you how to do that by Yogi Ramacharaka. It's on the website free, and then they show you how to breathe out, and you should get a rhythm, and your rhythm, the intake should equal the intake should equal the output, and also once you get that down, you should be able to also bring about the next level of breathing where you inhale. Let's say you can inhale 24 counts, and you should be able to hold it for 48 counts, and then exhale for 24 counts. So, and it takes a while to get there, but yes, breath is mantra. Okay, the intake of your breath and the outtake of your breath is actually the mantra that keeps you conscious on the physical realm. It's a natural mantra that the body or the soul repeats 21,600 times a day in order to keep consciousness locked into the body. So mantra should be regulated with breath. Yes, it should. Any other question? If there's no other questions, we go back to Lisa's questions about numerology.
Okay. You want some markers?
Huh?
Do you want some markers?
Yeah, I got some. Do I have some? Yeah, I have some. So each letter, if you going back to numerology, each letter has a number value, and this is the basics of numerology. Uh, I hope everybody understands that. can remember it. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 11 and 22. You also have 33. So you have A, J, right? And S, and B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z. And then K is 11 sometime, and 22 is V, right? Do you remember it?
I think so.
Yeah. So that is the scale you use in order to dissect names or objects or whatever. So in most numerology, they do that. Now, what is this? This is the vibrational. It is the vibrational component to sound. What is sound? Sound is consciousness. So everything has consciousness. And what the ancient mystics did, they plotted the vibrational movement of things through sound or through what it was named. So this is how you do it. So if you take your name and you place a number to every letter, and then you add that letter up, and then you reduce the amount down to a single name, right?
Number.
Number. So if I take my name and I go in, right? It's 5. It's 5, 8, 5, 4, 9, 1, 8. And then I add this up. Add that up for me. I think it's 45. 5, 5, 8, 5, 4, 9, 1, 8.
45.
45. So you take the 45 and you reduce the 45 by 4 plus 5 equals what?
9.
9. All right? So 9 is the number for me. That's a vibrational number. 9 actually means completion or universal love. Take my last name, Davis. 4, that's 1, right? Another 4, another 9, and 1. What is that?
19.
19. Reduce that to what?
10, then a 1.
To a 10. Yeah, to a 10, right?
Mhm.
And then reduce 10 to 1. So then we add up both. And I have 10. So my outer expression is 1. 1 is leadership. right? And his leadership, his self-discipline. So each number has a value to it, and has a particular vibration to it, and that's how you can see. You can also take this with the birth dates, and you could do something with to plot a person's life, you know, um, and by using their birth date. Anybody want to give their birth date, and I can do it up on the board? And
Use my birthday? Or gonna wait for someone in the chat?
all right, let's see. Somebody gave their birth date.
Oh, they did?
6/9/67. What is it?
6/9
6/9
1967.
1967. Now some people do it like this,
Wait, let me get on there.
and then some people do it like this. I think it gives the same result.
Yeah, but one way, I think the vertical way reveals hidden master numbers or something.
Yeah, supposedly. So if we do it this way, 996, right? That's 18 and 24, right? 8, 9,
24.
and 1, right?
So 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 4. 22.
And then we add this up, right? 1, 10, 18, and what is this?
22.
22. Now, that's that person's destiny number. Now, if they don't live up to that destiny, you reduce it to a 4. Right? Also, with this, this gives us the destiny, and then this also, we take this and 964, right? It was 67 or 6. It was 67 or 69. I think I did it wrong. It was 67. Let's do it all over again then. It was 67. Let's do this over again. What is this?
So 6 plus 9 plus 7 is 22. 6, 9, and 7 is 22.
Okay. 8, 9, 1, 82. Change this to,
That's a 20.
huh?
I got
It's
20.
a 20. So, okay, now this is 2. So this becomes 2. Now, for the destiny, we reduce this, right? What is this?
The year?
Yeah. 10 and 13, right? That's 23. So that becomes a 5, right?
1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 7. 23 is 5.
And these are all the cycles of that person's life. Okay? And from there, each one of these, their first cycle is from age 0 to 30, they on the 6. And then from age 34 to 42, they on the 11. And 42 to 51, they on the 9. At the same time, they have a challenge to this, and this is done by subtracting. These are the challenges to those numbers above. All right, and that there's a couple good books. Kevin Quinn Avery, and I don't know what the other lady named Catherine something.
Catherine Rockmore or Rockmore?
Yeah, and then there's another guy Goodwin. There's several. Okay, so, but yeah. So that's I think we have a couple numerology books on the on the website.
But for the Kevin Quinn one, they got to email us.
Yeah, for the Kevin Quinn, they got an email. So I hope I answered some of your questions. Is there any other questions that we didn't answer?
Couple of birth dates. Let's see.
We answer all the breathing questions?
Yeah. Some of the charts of the major chakra system display the heart chakras as having 3 parts, lower, main, then upper. Why is that? Would that mean that all of the majors have multiple levels?
The heart chakra it does have 3 faces, but it also have a chakra right below it that's rarely mentioned as well. So the heart chakra is 3 chakras came together to be 1 chakra. Okay, and you can actually see that. You can actually see that in the functioning of your physical heart, although it's not really related, but it's just because the heart chakra is the energy flow behind the subtle and physical masses. But yeah, there's 3 faces, there's 3 parts to the heart chakra, which each one of those parts is a chakra in itself, which means it's a vortex center of energy of itself. So yes, that is so. And then also something too that came from the ancient teachings, from the Upanishads of masters who revealed hundreds of years ago, and also was reintroduced to us a little bit before the 19th century came about, was that the heart chakra, that the Adamic man who lived here before the 18 million some reign of the humans that we know now, the Adamic man, his base of the spine was the heart chakra, and when the Lord man came here to this earth, or when Seneca Mara came to prepare a way for the humans of today, the heart chakra split and created the lower chakras, the lower major chakras, we are told. And you can read about that and see it in some of the old Upanishads. One book that tried to explain it was Nature Final Forces by Swami Prasad. Swami Prasad. He went into it. Also, The Serpent Power by Arthur Avalon went into it as well. But you wouldn't have, because you got to understand, each chakra is a level of consciousness. And the advanced race that was here, called the Adamic man, they had raised their consciousness up to the heart center, and that was their base consciousness. So they had no need for a solar plexus, for a sex center, for a base of the spine center. They had no need for the centers, the 7 centers in the lower legs. They had no need for those things. So, all right.
So the 3 faces of the heart center, do they operate in a similar or in a higher function than, say, like the 3.5 knot?
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, yeah. In a sense, yes, of course. I mean, but yet at the same time, they did the same job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, but...
So instead of Kundalini wrapping itself, the heart center would perform that function of the...
The heart center was high enough probably to sustain the Kundalini, you know, because it didn't have the so-called sins of man, you know. It didn't have those impurities that's lined up in the lower chakras, you know. So it Kundalini did not have to burn through that, in other words. So that's the difference. I see Lisa questions. One, talking about the vibrations, I think the number one, and there's many variations of this. Number one is leadership, it's independence, it's discipline, it's self-control, meaning the same thing. Number 2 is cooperation, diplomacy. Number 3 is self-expression. And number 4 is a balance. It could be diplomacy as well. Number 5 is change and travel. And each one of these have a negative, so the negative can be the opposite of all of that. Number 6 is harmony. All right. Number 7 is inner analysis. It's a time of self-reflection. Number 8 is power. Power and financing. That's what it shows up on most regular or basic humans. They show up as power, financing, or money, but it's power. It's power on all different levels. And number 9 is completion. It's a person coming to a state of completion in something. And it's also universal love, because in order to come to a completion, they have a degree of universal love. And number 11 is illumination, an awakening. And then number 22 is not only the illumination, but the expression of the illumination, I think. So, and number 33 is a state of blissful consciousness, or level that a person can find peace or balance or harmony in everything. At the same time, they can express that effortlessly. So those are like the vibrational numbers, and then you can slice them up, and then in combinations with each other, and each number you can actually write a book on because of the interplay of that energy and how it aligns itself with other energies. Is there any other questions outside of that, I guess? Or did I answer your question, Lisa? Okay. Is there any other questions?
Any further questions you guys have?
Did I answer the questions on the chakra? Did they understand that?
Say yes, you answered this
Okay.
question. Would you speak of Reptilian and Illuminati? I would love your take.
I don't really believe in that stuff. I mean, I think it's far fetched, and I try to stick to the ancient teachings that made sense, and and things that seem to go against the law of nature, in a sense, and the law of metaphysical nature. I kind of stay away from. Because one thing we have to understand, and you won't understand this until you can project from your body and you can go to the different realms of existence, unfortunately. Uh, and it's almost useless to talk to people on. And that's that you have a huge uh, you know, huge population of people and ideals and thoughts and that exist on the lower astral realms. And a lot of them have access to this physical realm, via mental, mental uh, uh, openings or fascinations and illness. So, you know, they feed on the fears of man. So they create these fears. They create these these conspiracy things, and they just layer it on so that this negative energy can flow back their way. Because negative energy is more of a food to them than what it is to us. Energy, period. So, but they prefer negative energy. So, stuff don't make sense and don't add up. Just let it go. Let it go. Don't get caught up in crazy and stuff. I know a lot of people watch the Ancient Alien. I watch the Ancient Alien show. It's a good show. They have a lot of theories, but that's what they are. A lot of them are theories. They come so close to the truth, and then they hide stuff too, because they censor. They try to what's the word for it? They try to create this sensation around certain things. When 15 other episodes, they talked about the source where it came from. But in this episode, they want to bring about sensation and all this stuff around it. It's just ridiculous. So. I will tell you one thing. Probably one of the reasons why Trump is so popular is because he resonates to the leaders of the lower hills. I tell you that. I can tell you that. So if you ever take a trip there, you'll see a lot of people like that. A lot of leaders like that. Any other questions? I hope I answered. I gave you insight on it. I don't know.
What about this power that belongs to certain families that have held that power for generations?
It's just the genetics, I think. It's just genetics. In other words, see, you have to see everything as an energy, and you have to understand that energy is consciousness. If you don't understand that, you're not gonna go far in this field. The energy you feeling in your body right now is led by consciousness. So the breath you breathe is psychic energy. What does psychic mean? Psychic means mental. It means it's a mental thing. So oxygen with the right amount of nitrogen and carbon dioxide produce consciousness. It produces consciousness. We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Energy is consciousness. So yes, you have families like that. My family is like that. And I have at least several siblings of mine that exhibited high levels of psychic ability, clairvoyance. Several of us from childhood was able to exit our body and roam the neighborhood. Astral projection came natural to us. And but see, the portal in which we came to this world was the energy portal in which we came to this world was my mother and father, who also had those type of things in their family, who also had psychics that went back for for hundreds, thousands of years in their family. They were genetically made that way. So we chose that portal to come through. And coming through there, we use the genetic material that allow us to keep our clairvoyance, our psychic abilities, to a certain degree. So yes, that is so. It's not strange. It's just natural. And that doesn't mean that no one else can be like that. If you take the 2 books I told you, I keep telling you this, do it, prove me wrong, Contact Your Higher Self Through Yoga, and The Science of Breath. Read those books, study those practices diligently. Within 6 to 18 months, you will begin to have some type of psychic ability. At the same time, you got to discipline yourself. Go back and listen to my lectures, because what happened when you have this psychic energy flow through you, you have other things begin to happen to you. You're on the edge. You get angry real quick. You become overly sexual active. All these things are things that will sidetrack you and stop you from developing yourself, because you heighten the energy, the conscious level in your body, and everything start turning on. But what you have to do, you have to discipline yourself. That's where Nana Yoga come in at, which is reading, studying, the knowledge of how to do this. Karma Yoga, which is the laws you must follow. You must kill out desire. You must control your sex drive. Your sex drive is the life force of your body. To just give that away hurts you. It destroys you. But to put a restriction over it, it makes you a better functioning, operating person in life. So that's one reason marriage is important, where you commit yourself to that one person and that one person only. Those are rules. Those are ways to circulate energy, because with your wife or your husband, you always giving to each other. So it's not too much energy going outside of that circle. So even if you give up that energy to her, or she give it to you, it's coming back to you constantly. You being able to reuse that. But you give it to every monkey that come in your pathway, then you losing energy. And the mystics tell us that if we put energy out, we gotta bring that energy back. So that's why being overly sexual active is not good, and it eventually destroys you. So this is natural stuff. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, triggered a few more. How do I better understand and interpret the dreams I'm having at night? Because a good portion of them are hard to get the meaning of.
Dreams are dreams, point blank. There's a difference between a dream and a vision. So visions, if you ever had a dream, let's say, I'm sure everybody had this happen to them, especially if they're into the mystic world or the metaphysical world. You find yourself in a dream, and then you become very conscious of that dream. Why? Because when you touch the table or object, you feel it. There's some type of kinetic return. In other words, when I touch this table, it feels slightly cold. So when you just dreaming, you don't feel those sensations because it's a dream. But when you are having a vision, or when you are actually having conscious projection, you feel the atmosphere around you. You feel the sunlight radiating on your face. You feel the sand or the ground underneath your feet. You can feel the wind blow. You can feel the temperature of the things around you and you're touching. That is a vision or that is a projection, a conscious projection. So that's the difference. So I would lead my energy towards analyzing those so-called dreams, because you'll find that they're not dreams. They're either visions or they are projections. The vivid the dreams that's elusive and that you have no feeling. It's just a picture. Show that that's just past thoughts rising themselves up in your aura, and like the ocean rise and fall, and that's all that is. And you picked up on it. But the ones that is very vivid and that you have a outside sensation coming in to your neural system, and you are analyzing that was not a dream. That was a vision, or that was a conscious projection, or a semi-conscious projection, I would say. So that's the difference. That's how you analyze it.
Did it answer your question? Questions? And someone commenting, yeah, that anger as a byproduct of the practices is real. I didn't realize this until you mentioned it.
Yeah, because what you're doing, you're bringing in this energy, this vital and mental energy that's on the atmosphere around you. You bringing this in, and you bringing it down to the base of your spine, and you bringing it back up the spine, and you bringing it out 6 inches in front of your forehead. So in other words, you actually, what the energy is doing, because the energy is traveling both sides of the body, what it's doing is cleansing the nadis. The nadis feed the physical nervous system, and what happened once you continue this intake and outtake of breath, which you're doing physically, but it's also creating emotion on a subtle level, because on that breath is this vital energy, is the pranas, it's the 5 major pranas. And it's just rushing through your body and cleansing the aura, and then it's cleansing the neural pathways to the brain on the physical level and on the subtle level. And after a while, your 5 senses become overly sensitized. After a while, the second set of 5 senses, because you have 10 senses, the whole 10 senses of the body become oversensitized, and you're on edge. You're on edge. I mean, you will be on edge. You will curse somebody out with the drop of a dime or a penny or whatever. Someone cross your pathway, you'll be ready to respond and defend yourself. This is what happens when you sensitize yourself, when you allow the psychic energy to sensitize yourself. So in doing these practices, you have to practice Karma Yoga. You have to practice Jnana Yoga. You have to practice Bhakti Yoga. What this does, it gives you control over your basic self, over these basic energies, these 5 and 10 senses, and you can channel the energy better. And when both sides of the brain, on the subtle level and the physical level, are actually balanced, you begin to have clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsensitive. You begin to have these psychic senses arise themselves. You'll walk down the street, and all of a sudden you'll see a whole new building there. But it's not on the physical plane, it's on the astral plane. You'll begin to see people that have passed on walk around you. You'll begin to look through walls. You'll begin to have all these different psychic experiences. You'll begin to hear far away, or you'll begin to sense deep emotions when people come around you. You'll be able to know that someone's going to die within 2 years. Not that you would tell them that, but you would just know this. And then when someone do die, you would know without knowing, you know, or someone get real sick, you would know without knowing, because your higher self will whisper to you these things. So you'll become aware of the other senses, of the physical senses, the astral senses, the etheric senses, and when they begin to merge, you have psychic abilities because you cleaned up the naughty pathways to allow them to merge. Go back into my lecture tapes, and I go into great detail on this, and you'll understand what I'm saying if I'm using words that you don't know. Any other questions?
Are there any final questions? Okay.
There's no questions. I guess we can close. How long we been here?
Broadcasting a little over an hour.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we'll close out now with a short prayer. If you have any additional questions, either hold them till next time, and we'll answer them at the beginning of class, or you can email them to us as well.
Go ahead.
All right. The New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength, so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. O great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.